guys, welcome back. I know I said I wasn't going to do another update and I was just going to put them in the community tab. So many people wrote to me saying that they were so invested in my husband and my story that I had to give another update over the last couple of days, and they've been pretty crazy. Where we left off, my husband was out of the ICU unit and on his way to the step down unit. And I was really afraid they were going to put him in this place called like Tent City, the annex, but they never did. They actually got him into the step down unit that they use in the hospital. So he had a private room. It was very comfortable, and he did a lot of improving. They were a little bit more strict in there. Like, he wasn't allowed to take his oxygen off. He wasn't allowed to stand up. They allowed him to go to the bathroom, but he wasn't really allowed to be alone. I guess because they don't have the monitors as intense as they do in the intensive care unit. Word got back to us. Now, remember when I told you about Nurse Ratchet and her telling my daughter that she's got to get over this and having to accept the fact her father was going to die in 3 to 6 months? Well, I had forgiven her, but the next shift of nurses did not. And I did not report her, but they did. And I heard that she got into a lot of trouble. When you have a patient who's been off the monitor for 4 hours in an intensive care unit, that's a big deal, especially when the guy is coded twice. So he went to the step down unit, and he only stayed on the step down unit for maybe a day or two, hardly any amount of time, and they bounced him into a regular room. So right now he has a private room on a regular floor. He's on something called telemetry, which monitors his heart, but he's not tethered to the bed. They skipped 2 days of dialysis, and they decided to do it again today because since he's had CPR, that's very taxing on the body. You crack ribs. I mean, it does things, and apparently it collapsed his lung partially. He doesn't have full-blown pneumonia, but he does have some fluid in his bottom of one lung. So they were going to take him down to do something called a thoracocentesis. So they insert a little needle into the lung and just draw out the fluid manually. And they took him down, and they do a sonogram before they do this so they could find the pockets of fluid, and they couldn't find them, which was really good news. So for the last couple of days, he's been doing really good, and he's going in the right direction. But I have a story that I'm going to tell you today. It's about my life and my life with him, because these are really good memories from us. When I first met him, I said the world turned upside down. But that wasn't really the day that I first saw him. When I first saw him, I was dating another boy. And I was very young. I was 14, so we're not talking about major love here. We're talking about schoolgirl crush, boy crush. Your first, it wasn't love. It was just the guy asked me out, asked me to be his girlfriend, and I said yes. I had no great love or passion for the kid. And he was my age, and my mother loved this kid. Oy. I always had a tendency of liking the bad boys. And this guy that I was dating was not a bad boy. In fact, he was like top grades in school, rich parents, was a nice looking guy. Just didn't give me anything. Just didn't spark any great anything from me, but my mother loved him. And I was only dating him for a couple of months, and I would have gotten rid of him. 14, you break up. You're lucky you last a month, you break up. And I would have done that had my mother not loved him so much. And I was like, ugh. So one day, this guy came to my house, kid, back then, came to my house, and he didn't tell his parents. And we lived on Long Island, but he lived in one town, and I lived in another, and they weren't exactly next to each other. I was on the South Shore, he was on the North Shore. And we needed rides, and he decided he was going to take the bus to my house. Well, he didn't tell his parents he was coming, and I guess they had plans that night or whatever, and he came down to my house. We were supposed to have gone to the mall, Roosevelt Field, and met up there. And instead, he took the bus all the way down to my house. And the bus never came and picked him up. He was stuck on the South Shore, and he had to call his parents to come and get him. Well, his parents were so angry at him, and he got grounded for the next weekend. Now, I had already seen Howie in between. I had gone to a party at a temple, and so I had seen him at that party, and that is the moment I say that I fell in love with him, because he just looked like the greatest thing in the world. And I followed him around. Now, this temple party was huge, like hundreds of kids. And I followed him around. I dragged my friends around, and everywhere he went, I went. But he didn't notice me at all. I was 14 years old. Well, when we officially met was when the guy that I was dating got grounded. One of my friends was like, well, let's go out. There's a party at the rabbi's house. And I was like, oh, no, I don't want to go. And they were like, get dressed. You're not staying home. You're going. And they picked my clothes out for me. It was a group of, girls stick together, little cliques. And we got ready and we went to this temple party. Well, at the rabbi's house. Well, I didn't know my world was going to change that night. And that was the night that Howie's group, like it was called B'nai B'rith, and there's chapters. Well, I had no idea that Howie's group and my group were having this party together. And that's when Howie walked in, and the world changed for me. That was it. And he noticed me. And I'm really glad he did not notice me at the other party, because at that time I was 14 years old when I first saw him. When we first really got together and officially met, I had just turned 15. Thank God. Because he told me later on that had he met me the first night, he would have gone, oh, cute little girl. But we're talking about a matter of like 2 months that we did meet, and I had turned 15, and that was okay because he was 17 and I was 15. Immediately, I dumped the other guy. Like, it didn't even take me 24 hours, and I was like, later, Gator, you're gone. And that's why my husband and I have like a running argument joke on what day did we start to see each other. I say it was February 3rd I became his girlfriend. He said it was February 2nd. And I said no, because I had another boyfriend at the time. And so we've been arguing for 40 years, the same argument. What day is our anniversary of meeting each other? I'll get to the point of this story. My mother didn't exactly like Howie. Howie had long hair, something he wishes he had now. He had long hair. He was cute as a button. He was into like the Grateful Dead. He was just my bad boy. And I was like, oh my God, flipping out on him, over him. My mother wasn't exactly happy. When you're going from like the kid who's got the top grades in his class to my husband, who was walking around in a denim jacket and long hair, got into a fight with my brother the first day. My brother was trying to show off him. He was only a little boy. And how he kicked him out of the room the first time. He just did not impress my mother. So as a nickname, my mother started calling Howie Harvard. And it was supposed to be sarcastic, like dummy. Not that my husband knew about it back then, but it was a sarcastic name. Nobody else ever called him Harvard, but I started calling him Harvard, and Harvard is his name, and it's been shortened to Vid. So sometimes I'll call him Vid, like if I'm talking about him, I'll go, and Vid did this, and I'll say, oh, I'll go get Vid to his friends, but his friends don't call him Vid. I'm the only one that does. He shortened my name too, and he calls me Law. Now my name's Lori, and I don't like the name Law. And he does it out of habit, and to drive me nuts. And I said, he does most of the cooking. So when he calls me for dinner, he goes, Lua. And I come back with how, as a nickname for him. And that goes on every single night. And we have the same discussion every single night before dinner. I don't like the name Law. I won't call you that anymore. Well, thank you. And then the next day, Law, time for dinner. So it drives me crazy. And that's been a bone of contention for us for years. Well, anytime he calls me Law. Funny thing is, now, when he was in the hospital, I told my daughter, when we thought we were going to lose him, I wanted to get a bird, and I'm going to teach it how to say the word Law. Because I never want to stop being called Law. He doesn't know that yet. The thought of nobody ever screaming Law at me, even though I hated it, just was one of the things I cried about. I think there's a lot of things in our relationship now that's going to change. A lot of the things he did, I came to the realization I love, even though they got on my nerves. I'd never want to change it. I don't want to change anything about my life. And, you look at the sad things and you look at the happy, the glass half full, the glass half empty. Make lemonade out of lemons. And that's the type of person I am. We don't know if our lives are going to change. If he has to be on dialysis permanently or not. It's looking like he probably won't be on it permanently. But if he does, that's a big lifestyle change because you got to get it done 4 days a week or 3 days a week. And you really can't stop. Unless for some miracle you get a kidney transplant, but he wouldn't be a candidate for that because of his heart. Whatever life is going to be in the future, I don't care. Which is so weird. I really don't. The only thing I want is for him to be here. And I'm so much more appreciative of my life right now than I ever was. And I have a lot to appreciate. And if you said, well, here's $1 billion or your life, I would keep my life. I feel like a Hallmark story, like somebody, showed me what my life could be differently and then I don't want it. So that's my story for today. I'll keep you guys in the know about what's going on. But I have another update to give you guys. Andy and the pencils, they're coming soon. Now, I don't want to give a date out yet because, things can change. I knew it was going to be, I had hoped it was going to be end of summer, beginning of fall. Now it looks like it's going to be mid-fall, but the pencils are almost out of production. They're almost finished. The tins are done. Tins look amazing. These are nice tins. Beautiful artwork they did. Very similar to the old, the Starjoy, regular Starjoy pencils, the tin, but there's some changes on it that look really, really good. And so they're done. The pencils are almost finished with out of production. And all he has to do is get them put together and down to Amazon. And they'll be out. Really excited about that. So hopefully going forward, there are going to be a lot better things going on. Again, thank you, Color It, for this book. I can't even tell you how much I love doing these mandalas. They are so relaxing. And the one I'm working on next is like a puzzle of... I'm going to do a little bit more teaching in that one because it's like a puzzle and figuring out the way the lighting is, and you'll see that coming up. And my head is beginning to clear enough to be able to teach, and I will start doing, we're going to start doing the next flower. So, good things coming up, hopefully. And I will see you guys in my next video. Take care. Bye-bye.